Mirai was a sad, lonely, depressed, ugly, talentless loser who had no will to live, basically the same as you. Yes, I am talking to you, the person who is watching this video. On the day of his middle school graduation, Mirai Kakehashi decides it's time to leave the earth, so he jumps off the roof of a really tall building. Unfortunately, before he could hit the ground, his life is suddenly spared by special rank angel waifu Nasse, who catches him and takes him to the roof. Mirai was shocked and couldn't believe what happened. Nasse explained that she's already aware that Mirai's parents and younger brother Akira died in a car accident before Mirai was taken in by his abusive aunt and uncle. Nasse offers Mirai the hope of freedom with wings and the hope of love with arrows as angel tools. Mirai initially rejects the offer and says Nasse couldn't make him happy. Nasse explains her powers, and Mirai eventually gives in and chooses both. He still didn't believe her until she gave him her powers, and he grew wings and started flying. It took some time, but he was eventually able to control his wings and fly normally. He starts to cry like a baby while he flies as he is finally able to achieve his dream of flying. Nasse shockingly reveals that Mirai's parents and Akira were killed by Mirai's aunt and uncle. Mirai was shocked and couldn't believe what he heard. He always blamed himself for the way his aunt and uncle treated him. Nasse told him that if he didn't believe, he should shoot his aunt with the red arrow and make her tell him the truth. Mirai went home and shot his red arrow at his aunt in order to verify the truth. His aunt fell in love with him since that was the red arrow's power. He asked her for the truth, and she told him that his uncle came up with the idea to kill Mirai's parents to inherit the money they had. She also explained that they left Mirai alive so they could claim the insurance money. Mirai was shocked and told his aunt that she should leave the earth, so she poked herself to death right in front of his uncle. After learning the truth, Mirai decides he will continue to live and find happiness for his parents' sake. 3 days later, Mirai tells Nasse that he wants ordinary happiness, desiring enough money to improve his standard of living. Nasse suggests that Mirai could shoot his white arrow at his uncle and his kids in order to ensure a painless death and inherit their money, but Mirai says he won't do it. Nasse explains that there are currently 13 god candidates, all competing to become the successor of God, and each having their own angel and powers. God speaks to a group of angels, saying that he has worked hard to make the world better for humans, but now it is time for him to step down. The group of angels is identified as the 13 angels who are responsible for choosing and guiding candidates to become the new god. God mentions that they have 999 days left to find a candidate. Back at the motel, a confused Mirai thinks about the existence of god candidates. Mirai says he doesn't want to become god, but Nasse explains that becoming a god candidate is the best option for him. She argues that it would give him free access to wings and arrows leading to greater happiness. Mirai turns on the TV and sees a news report about Tama Rodriguez and his love life. Tama brags about dating 5 women at the same time, however the reporter didn't believe such an ugly loser could pull all those women. Mirai notices an angel above Tama and realizes he is a god candidate with the red arrow. Mirai and Nasse conclude that the women have been struck by the red arrow. Concerned for them, Mirai asks Nasse if there's a way to avoid being hit by a red arrow. Nasse explained the 3 rules. Wings are faster than arrows and can dodge them. The arrow's effect lasts for 33 days, and a person can only be hit by the arrow once. In a van in an empty parking lot, Tama is surrounded by a dozen women who are fawning over him. The door opens and someone in a suit leans in, extending their arm and shooting a white arrow at Tama. This kills Tama, and he falls out of the van. The man stands over Tama's dead body and notes that he only got a red arrow. The women, now free from the red arrow's influence, run away in shock. The man in the suit looks at the scene with disapproval. As Mirai walks away from school the next day, he sees a news report on his phone about Tama's death. Nasse, cheerful as ever, tries unsuccessfully to cheer up Mirai as they go shopping for school supplies. Eventually, they come across a bank robbery in progress. The situation becomes dire as the criminals barricade themselves in with hostages. Suddenly, a man in a mechanical suit appears from the sky. Some people in the crowd note that he resembles the popular character Metropolitan. Mirai notices the man has wings and concludes that he is another god candidate. Metropolitan flies up and hits the police officers with red arrows, which makes them start to simp over him. He then shoots one of the criminals with a red arrow and convinces them to surrender. However, another criminal shoots at him, and while Metropolitan dodges, killing the first criminal, Metropolitan gets upset and flies at the second criminal and kills him with a white arrow. After the confrontation, Metropolitan gives a statement to the press, pretending he didn't mean to kill the criminals. He then challenges the remaining 11 candidates to a fight. Mirai panics and tells Nasse to move away so Metropolitan doesn't see him. At Mirai's house, he demands Nasse remove his arrows and wings so he is no longer a god candidate. Nasse says she can't do this because it would lead to Mirai's death. Mirai then asks her to explain the angel ranking system. Nasse explains that special rank angels get red and white arrows and wings, first rank angels get red arrows and wings, and second rank angels get either wings or red arrows. She also mentions that while only 3 special ranks probably exist, angels can be promoted or demoted. Mirai thinks about how dangerous Metropolitan is, but Nasse reminds him about the school opening ceremony tomorrow. Mirai decides to attend school knowing he can't find happiness staying at home. The next day, Nasse teases Mirai about going to high school, saying he only joined to be near his crush Saki Hanakego. Mirai is embarrassed but insists he won't use the red arrow on her. When he arrives at school, he is shocked to see an angel standing above the courtyard with wings growing out of his cheeks. Before he can leave, the angel moves close to his face and stares at him. However, things take a dramatic turn when Mirai is shot by a red arrow of love by his crush Saki Hanakego. Under the influence of her angel revel, she uses the red arrow on Mirai to ensure his cooperation and protection of her. Mirai, who has always had feelings for Saki, is now even more determined to protect her despite the manipulative nature of the situation. Saki tells Mirai to meet her in her room after the ceremony, so he leaves to go to her room. In the room, Revel tells Mirai that he has to protect Saki because she doesn't have a white arrow or wings. Revel teaches Mirai how to fly with Saki since she doesn't have any wings. He tells Mirai to wrap his rings around her hand, and Mirai finally gets to touch a girl for the first time in his life. He holds her and starts to blush as his lollipop starts to touch her peach. He holds her tight and starts flying in the sky with her. He takes her far up into the sky, and they start to have a romantic moment together. Later in Saki's room, Revel tricks Mirai into sacrificing himself by going after Metropolitan. However, he gets stopped by Nasse. She explains that Revel wanted him and Metropolitan to both die so Saki could take their power since angel powers are transferable after death. Since Revel's plan fails, he decides they should work together. They decide Mirai should live with Saki to protect her. Mirai's face turns red and his lollipop grows as he starts to think about finally getting Saki's peach. A month later, the red arrow effect finally goes away, revealing that Mirai has feelings for Saki even without the effect of the arrow. Mirai vows to stop Metropolitan since he gets in the way of Mirai eating Saki's peach. Meanwhile, Metropolitan was busy being Batman and stopping criminals. He sends a message to all the other god candidates through a TV broadcast proposing a meeting to discuss who should become the next god. They understand the danger, but also realize the necessity of confronting Metropolitan. They go to the stadium and notice a bunch of angels in the sky, suggesting that there are other candidates in the stadium. Metropolitan finally shows up, however. 2 other god candidates, Metro Blue and Metro Yellow, show up. They immediately shoot a red arrow at Metropolitan, but the arrow didn't pierce him. This is the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and subscribe for more videos.